Hi everybody, this is going to be a video going over C++ intro, just how it works in Unreal and just some management type information about it. So basically, right, we did blueprints in the first game development class, and now we're going to be doing both blueprints and C++ scripting. So and I got this from the book, right? It says game studios usually use both C++ and blueprints to develop commercial level games. So the main things that, like the advantages of having C++ is usually the performance. That's pretty much the reason why C++ is around for most of it, is because it allows you to write low-level operational code, so it lets you do things quicker and easier than having it run in the native languages or having it do in other languages. Specifically with C++, right, it gets machine-friendly binary native code, and what that means is it's going to have stuff compiled specifically for the type of environment that it's run on, and which is going to speed up the processing. Whereas blueprints, on the other hand, is basically those scripts are interpreted and executed by a middle layer, which means it takes more time for it to run. So basically, the main benefit of C++ is that it gets to be run faster, right? We know the benefits of blueprints, right? It made it so that we didn't have that big of a learning curve to start going up and running, right? In the first programming class or the first game development class, we got there was a lot of built-in things that it could do automatically, and it was fairly easy to use. So, and what we're doing now is different than programming, right? If you've taken the C++ class, and I think there's only a handful of you that have, you made a standalone game, and it has its own syntax, and it has its own, how it writes to console, how it does certain things. All of that is specific for it. That's not what we're doing. We're not doing C++ programming. We're doing C++ scripting, which is slightly different, and it's basically, like, I liked how this put it. It's a specific dialect of C++ programming. So, because Unreal has its own language, it has its own words and syntax, and it uses the C++ syntax also, but it has its own added thing to that lets it have the communication back and forth. And I got this, so this link at the bottom, and it's going to be in your Moodle shell as well, is a link to the Unreal's like coding standards. And I think it's always important to go read coding standards from like how they put it out, and like try, and it's something I'm going to be trying to follow, and I think you should be as well, like going to that page and reading through the stuff and what it says and following it. And so I just took this, like, I pulled this directly from the webpage, and because I found it interesting, right? Because it's one of the things I've been trying to get people, I argue with some of my students in my C++ class, right? Of that, that they need to focus on going by naming conventions and file, like how we say files and all of that. And like having 80% of the lifetime cost of a piece of software goes to maintenance, to me is huge, right? Is a lot of times you think it's you build the thing and then they have it, right? But it's like the vast majority of time is going to be spent maintaining that code and doing changes to it and updates and all of that. And like, it's just good planning to have your brain think about the naming conventions, the standard things, and adhering to some of those to the best of your ability. Things are going to change and we're going to screw up, and that's okay. But at least reading through the coding standard is going to be important for all of us. So Unreal has this system that's called the reflection system, and this is pulled directly from Unreal's page. It encapsulates your class with various macros that provide engine and editor functionality. And it has these other things in it that you'll see the U object, the U function, the U property. Like these are Unreal things. That's where the U's coming from, right? And each thing has these U functions and U properties that make Unreal Engine aware of the new classes, functions, and variables. And you know, my brain had a really hard time wrapping it around, so I found this like English translation, which is basically the infrastructure that makes C++ classes and their members visible to the engine in real time. That's what the reflection system is for. It takes the basically what we would use and in the lab when you go through the videos and you go through all of that, there's a section where you're going to put out you're going to create a variable, and you're going to create one with the U property and you're going to create one without the U property and see how they interact. And so basically the Unreal Engine reflection system, that's what they call it, is just this kind of wrapper that goes around that tells that like anything you're going to be doing in there that like between functions and variables, it's going to say, okay, it's how it pulls it into Unreal and actually gets it incorporated into Unreal. So these are the Unreal specifics. There's more of them, and I'm sure we'll run into more of them. So UCLASS basically is just marks a class so that the engine knows that it's there. UPROPERTY is for variables, and we'll work with that today. UFUNCTIONS is for functions. That's next week. And then the Unreal Header tool, that is kind of like we don't see it and we don't interact with it really, but we're going to be compiling in Unreal. And so the Unreal Header tool is how it goes and scans the header of our things, of our code, and brings it and incorporates that into Unreal. So it's kind of the glue that is making it so that what we do code-wise in the C++ makes it into Unreal. So one of the things I want to just point out, two things actually. You're not going to compile in Visual Studios. You're going to write the code in Visual Studios, and then you're going to compile the code in Unreal. And I go through it in the video on the demonstration on how to do that. So just follow along there. What I'm going to say here is save early and often in Visual Studios, because the Unreal Header tool can't find the changes if you haven't saved them. So if you're like getting frustrated and you're going like, I made these updates and it's not showing in Unreal, and why is it not showing it? Make sure you saved, because I might have done that multiple times. So I hope that helps, and I will see you in the next video.